Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all things eyeshadow, okay? I'm talking everything from the different kinds of palettes, whether they're high-end or drugstore, to the different kinds of brushes, and I have many laid out here in front of me. Same with the palettes, my stack, okay? I'll be talking about a lot today. Basically, it's going to be a eyeshadow 101. So if you've ever wanted to know how to do your eyeshadow, maybe you're doing it and it doesn't look as good as you think it could, or you are doing it and you just can't seem to get it right, I want to help you out. And I know I've watched a lot of these videos in the past myself, so I've learned a lot of tips and tricks over probably the past like 5 years. So if today is the day that you are just ready to be welcomed into the eyeshadow world and the makeup world in general, then just go ahead and keep on watching. My face is very oily. My skin is so oily to the point that I almost feel like I have to have powder stacked on my face to make it not look oily. So I'm sorry that this is what you're getting for the whole video, because this is my everyday. Now that we've been in quarantine, this is kind of how I've been letting my skin do a lot of breathing. Like, I don't really wear makeup, and I'm not a fan of putting on foundation every day. If I tend to go out, I'll do like either a lighter foundation or I will do a concealer. I think it was Nakia Joy is the first video I ever watched on how to apply eyeshadow if you have extremely oily eyelids, or even just, you know, oily face in general. I will try to find that and link that down below, because this is where I learned a lot of my tips and tricks that I am going to share with you guys today. And it's taken a lot to really sift through and figure out what works for me and what does not. I know a lot of you probably already either use foundation like on your eyelids, but you don't really think too much about it, right? What I like to do when I go in with foundation is I also go in, after I put the foundation on my eyelids, I'll put a little dab of concealer as well. And I find that just that little extra layer of what I like to call protection, basically, is what's going to help keep the oils from seeping through my eye, like up through my eyeshadow, and really just ruining my eye look for the whole day. One of my favorite concealers that I have found that works for my skin personally, and I have really oily skin if you couldn't tell. Okay, so the concealer that I have, holy mother, I personally find it better than the Shape Tape, and I know what that sounds like, okay? Because Shape Tape was so popular back when I even started watching makeup videos, which was probably like maybe 2015. It's the Juvia's Place concealer. I don't know the specific name for it. I think it's like the Magic Concealer, something like that. It's so good, and I'll have to look it up. I think it's $9. I'll link it down below. I got it from Ulta. I'm just gonna keep talking about this damn concealer. Let's just go ahead and put some on our eyes. So basically, whatever concealer of your choice. Let me just pick the cat hair out of my nose. You don't really need a whole lot, because obviously your eyelids are not that big. What I like to do is I like to usually do like literally just two swipes. That's it. And I just pulled this out of the tube and then swiped off the extra, and that was it. So once I have it on there, I'm just gonna go ahead and blend it out with my beauty blender. You can use your fingers, you can use a brush, whatever is natural for you. This one is my absolute favorite. It's the Miracle Sponge Real Techniques Face and Body. Fantastic, love it. Use whatever you have. If you want to use your fingers, those work too. I just personally like beauty blenders. Obviously, I need to also clean this, but we're not gonna worry about that today. That's for a whole other video. When I get concealer, at least for my eyelids, I go a little bit lighter than my skin shade. Usually for my under eyes, I try to match it as closely as possible. Sometimes I will go with my finger, just if I don't feel like the beauty blender is doing enough. Let me know what you guys use down in the comments below. I would really like to know, does anybody still use their fingers? I find it so interesting, the different kinds of techniques that people use to put their makeup on with. Okay, so now that we have that on there, the crucial step, without fail, every single time I will do an eyeshadow look, whether I'm doing it before my foundation, whether I'm doing it after my foundation, doesn't matter. I set my eyelids every single time. This is just a powder that I've been like really obsessed with lately, just because this one, my other holy grail, is running low, and it's the Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. This stuff is so good. However, just this is like the travel size version. $20, and the bigger version is like $44. It's totally worth it in every respect. It's just I don't feel like ordering it. So before everything seemed to like shut down, I actually went and picked up the Maybelline Fit Me. I've been using this powder for years. It's one of my favorites. It's my go-to anytime I have something that if I just am needing a good face day, I'll use my Fit Me. I have to get the Fair Light, which I don't know if they've come out with a translucent. This is like the lightest shade because every other shade is like 2 shades too dark. Like the next shade up is like 2 shades too dark. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab a brush. It doesn't matter. You can use a big brush. You can use a little brush, whatever kind of brush that you may have. I just like to go over, so like I'm going to take this one. It's kind of a bigger, fluffier brush. I'm going to take what's in the lid here, which is actually quite a lot. I'm just going to tap into that. I like to like fling off the excess. And then what I do is I get a little bit more, fling that excess off. And then I just go in and I will put that right on my eyelid. You can tell over here that it's starting to crease up. So again, just like take your finger or your beauty blender or your brush, whatever you prefer as your method of blending. Blend that sucker right on out and then go in with the powder like you did on the other side. So I find that what this does for my eyelids, that is again a tip I picked up. I believe it's from Nakia Joy. I'm gonna put a pin in that and then I'll come back to that. But I believe it was from her. And she gave this tip that was like, always, always, always powder your eyelids. It just locks in the oils that are on there already and it won't really let them seep through. Now is the wonderful, magical, fantastic time of picking an eyeshadow palette. If you're like me and you're a makeup enthusiast, you probably have a lot and it kind of just blows your mind that you spent so much money on it, even though you know you're broke, but like, you also love makeup, so it doesn't matter. So, I have a lot. More than I'll ever use, and I literally probably only use like one palette, and that is the Morphe X Jaclyn Hill palette. This is the OG, the original. 35 shades. Mine is a wreck. This is awful. That's obviously my most used shade. It's phenomenal. That's like the transition shade I used to use for every eye look. No matter what it was, that was the first color to go on my eyes. And usually the last color I use to like blend everything out to even it all out. Love that. This guy is a little bit pricey. I bought it directly off the Morphe website. I believe, I want to say it was like $35. I'll link it down below for you because it's worth every single penny, in my opinion, 100%. And another palette that I absolutely just fell in love with, it's a little on the pricier side, like pricey, but again, worth every penny. It's the Modern Renaissance. Okay, this is not new. This has been around for years, but it's one of those ones that is like a staple. You can make so many different eye looks from this. It's ridiculous, especially if you're into the berry tones, because let me tell you, we've got the neutrals, we've got the berry tones. It's got 14 shades. It's just magical. And the pigment, fantastic. If you're really looking for that pop. A few, like, I wouldn't say, well, I guess they would be. A few of my favorite, like, drugstore palettes. I don't really have many. So I've got 3 different ones. This is the Makeup Revolution Soph X, like, collab palette. It's 24 shades. This mirror is phenomenal, but I'll try not to blind you guys. It's got 24 shades in there. I love the versatility of this. I don't use it as often. It's more like my go-to like travel. Let's go for colorful looks. If you're a colorful person and you love to wear color on your eyes and it's just everything in a bag of chips for you, just color, color, color. This palette right here. Okay, this is probably one of my most inexpensive palettes. I think I got it in a set, so it was only like $25, I think, for the 2 palettes. But this is one of them. It's called the Zulu. Again, it's by Juvia's Place. Look at this bad boy. Do you see that? Look how big those pan sizes are. These 2 top shades here, my most used shades. I cannot get enough of those shades. I don't really experiment too much with color, which I really want to get into this year, and that's kind of a goal of mine. But those two shades right there, I'm gonna just link the video below where I use these two on my eyes, because that was probably my favorite eye look I've ever made, and it's the one I recreate and recreate time and time again. This is more of like an affordable color. It's the NYX Ultimate Edit Professional Makeup Palette. It's got 6 different shades. They're all pretty colorful. If you're looking to even just maybe start experimenting with color, this is what I would recommend this one. If you're looking for more of a neutral palette, again, I would either go with like the Jaclyn, or if you're wanting to spend Modern Renaissance, this thing, I believe they're still $52. I can't remember if it's like 48 or 52. This one is really pricey, but again, I think it's worth every penny because you're gonna get so many uses out of it, and the pigment is outrageous. This one is my neutral palette that I would go to every single day when I was just on the go, quick, ready to go, doing my thing. This is the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air. It's like they're more neutral. They have a more colorful one with like blues and yellows, and then I think they have one with like greens. This was my go-to. I adore this little palette. It is so freaking awesome. It's got 10 shades, 2 transition shades, which I'll show you, but they mark for you, which, yeah, they're pretty good. I would usually stick to like this side, and as opposed to like some over here. The shimmer shades are on the, the left side. We got the shimmer shades here. I don't personally use shimmer shades usually out of like, I don't know, cheaper palettes, because sometimes to me they're not as blinding. What I like to use for shimmer shades are my highlighters. Highlighters are everything. So like, this is my Anastasia Nicole Guerrero. It's phenomenal. It's been loved. She's been loved. But this is like, that's more of an expensive option. It's like $40. You get 6 really big pan sizes, which to me, I will buy time and time again because they're amazing. If you're looking for kind of like a lower end, just kind of really wanting to either get into using shimmers, or you're just looking for a staple that you can use time and time again for a really long time, I would say this Wet n Wild I'm So Lit highlighter. This is the loose highlighter palette in the Mega Glow. This is so freaking good. I love this stuff. Like, just the tiniest bit on your pinky or your index finger is going to go so far. But today, I'm trying to figure out what kind of look I want to do. Usually if I go for a more like neutral tone, like brown look, I'll use my bronzer, which is another product you can use. Sometimes they make super beautiful transition shades, and it may be like a shade that you just don't have in a palette, and it's the only kind of shade of its kind, pretty much. Or I sometimes even use my blushes. I have a few little blush palettes laying around, and I like to use those sometimes when, like, if they're palettes and they have deeper colors, I'll use those on my eyes instead of on my face, because obviously they just won't match my face as well. But today, I think I'm just going to keep it super simple. I'm like sitting here struggling to figure out what I want to use. We're just going to go for it and just hit it with that Jaclyn palette. So here's where the fun part is. Brushes. I have too many brushes probably that I'll ever need in my lifetime. I probably should clean them because they're probably getting a little unsanitary. I usually like to spray them off. If you guys haven't tried this is the Sonia Kashuk Quick Clean Brush Spray. It's good stuff. Okay, it's good stuff, especially if you're traveling. So there's 3 main brushes that I use, and it's obviously very clear, or 4 main brushes, I'm sorry, that I use that's clear, that I actually use them all quite a bit. I recently just did an orange eye look. That's why that one's orange. Those are like the 4 main ones that I use. It's really, these two are, okay, so these two are pretty much the same. They're just kind of like tapered on the top. They're kind of fluffier. These make really good brushes for blending the outside corner. Then what I like to do is I'll take this one. This is, does it have a name? I don't know if it has a name. This is just a kind of almost like a thinner version of the tapered fluffy brush. That way you can get into the inner corner and make sure it's not like flying everywhere as you're doing it, as opposed to doing it with like a bigger, fluffier brush. This one right here, this is the Morphe R39 brush. This is also another really good, it's more of a rounded top brush, but this is also really good for the outer crease, like the outer crease and the upper crease area if you're trying to blend. Those are like my main 4 that I use. I have so many more. Like my mom got me these cool little Harry Potter brushes. So freaking cool. I like to use these just to kind of blend out if something is a little harsh on me. There's also like this little guy here. This is more like a very dense rounded brush. This is what I like to use to do the lower lash line if it's something that I'm doing for that look. I don't normally do a whole lot of lower lash line looks, but I will definitely use this brush to do so if I choose to do that. I'm going to mainly be using these 3 brushes here, which are just my 2 fluffier brushes and then my smaller rounded brush on the top that's a little bit thinner. I'm going to go ahead and dip into this shade here. I only know this shade is called Silk Cream because I use it 24/7 on my eyeballs. I'm going to go ahead and dip into that, give it a few swirls. What I like to do is tap off the excess because sometimes there can be quite a lot, and that can really, like, especially if you're doing it after foundation, that'll fall down onto your face, which doesn't always work out, and then you have to redo everything, and then it just sucks. But that's for another day. I've got my mirror here. I'm going to do my best to get in there. I'm going to give it another swirl, a little tippy tap. A tip that I can share with you is that on your brush, okay, you've got your whole brush, right? You're going to want to hold it almost by the bottom of the brush, because what this will do is it'll make it where it's so light on your eye that you're not like over packing color on there, and when you blend it out, you're not like stabbing your eyeball. So you want to either, I like to either do windshield wiper or circular. Either of those is gonna just, you know, do it for you, you know? Once I get to the actual like crease part and not the outer corner, I like to do windshield wiper motions to really spread that color. And whenever I'm putting on a new color, I will put it here on the outside and then bring it in. I don't want it to be super packed on over the top. So I'm going to go in with a little bit darker. Usually if I'm doing a more neutral look, I will try to keep it within the same family. So if I'm like, oh, you know, I'm feeling like a brown today, I will just continually go down my darker browns. So like for me, I would probably go to maybe this color and then this color and then maybe like one of these, just if I really wanted to deepen it up. Today I'm not going to keep it like, I'm not going to just go crazy and use like 7 eyeshadows. I'm going to maybe use like maybe 2 or 3. You can do it like, essentially it's the same with every color that you're doing. Now you can always like mix and match colors as well. So if you wanted to do like blue on the inner corner, purple on the outer corner, blend those in. You know, if you wanted to do like, my favorite is orange and yellow. I love orange and yellow looks. They're fantastic. You do orange on the outside. It looks like a sunset on your eyes. It's amazing. It's really just getting the like basic transition colors in there to be able to deepen it up as you go along. Sometimes I like to keep it also to where when I put my colors on, I will do a full matte look. So that means I'm putting my matte shadows all over my eyelid as well. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a shimmer just to kind of show you how to use your highlighters or, you know, shimmer shades if that's what you're into. I'm not really going to be doing obviously anything crazy like eyeliner or eyelashes. Those are for a whole nother video that I'm going to make. Okay, so I'm going to go probably 1 shade deeper than this, and that's all I'm going to take it to. Once I start to get to those darker shades, I will actually keep those just in my outer area, like my outer corner, and not bring those all the way over because I don't want that inner corner to be super dark. That's not the look I'm going for today. If that's what you're going for, you do you, boo. So you can tell the difference right now between my 2 eyes if I were to just like cover my face. You can definitely tell that the outer corner of this one's a little bit darker, and that's exactly what I'm going for. I just want to add that dimension. But I've only used 1 brush throughout this whole eye look, and that's really as deep as I'm going to go because I don't want to make this like some like really crazy hard eyeshadow look. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my highlighter palette. I'm just going to grab a shade. Doesn't matter what shade you want. You can make it as light or as dark as you want. And what I'm going to do is just pop that on the inner corner, and it makes all the difference in my opinion. What I did was I put the highlighter. I chose this middle color, the Forever Young, on my eyes. I seem to find that it goes with most of my eye looks, so that's what I like to put on my eyes to really just zhuzh it up a little bit. What I like to do next, I think this is the brush that I will usually take the brush that I was using, and then I'll kind of go over it and then just blend it in seamlessly to the rest of my eyeshadow. The last thing that I like to do, I don't do it all the time. I tend to only do it if I know I'm going to be out really long and I don't have time to like touch up anything. I will actually go back in with this powder. I mean, just probably the tiniest little amount, okay? Like just a skosh. That's how I like to measure things, a skosh. I will take on a little tiny fluffy brush. I just grabbed a little bit. I will wring out pretty much all of the excess that is on there, and I kind of just lightly run it over my eyeshadow. I find that what this does is it really just locks in the oils. So your eyes aren't going to be just, I mean, oily, oils flying everywhere, making your eyeshadow look a hot mess all day. I kind of feel like wearing mascara now. Let me just grab some. If you guys haven't tried this mascara, it's the Man Eater. It's changed my life. I absolutely love it. Like when I wear this mascara, I don't need to curl my lashes because my lashes are stupid long anyways. It just does it for me, and it's like magic sent from the heavens, and I love it. You know, I just feel like for me, the faces benefit my mascara application overall, okay? They're just magical beings that help me apply my mascara. They fix my everything. Alright guys, I hope you stuck with me this far. I really hope you found this video informative and that it gives you some kind of help in your eyeshadow journey as far as either starting or getting started on how to do certain techniques and tips and tricks that I've learned along the way during my journey. And I hope you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Hit that like button and, you know, leave me a comment on what your favorite eyeshadow is or what technique that you found that works for you. I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.